Hello and welcome to this quick pitch video on carrier aggregation, a good reason to buy 5G routers. This video is designed to give a bit of a technology insight to carrier aggregation and also to give a live demo of how you can ascertain how much it's helping you on sites on a daily basis and also what you can do to try and get it to work in your favor. So without further ado, let's move on to the next slide. So let's have a quick introduction, a quick clarification of what carrier aggregation. Um, you might also hear it called LTE-A or LTE Advanced or Category 6 or Category 12 4G. Many different names. Not been described particularly well to consumers or users over the years. So let's give some clarity of what's available to you first and then how we can use it. So if you look at the image on the left, you can see a typical piece of user equipment, which is the GSM terminology for a device talking to mobile networks. And it has, on the right-hand side, you see it as a 4G PCC. That's primary component carrier. So every connection, whether it's a phone or a router or any other type of cellular device, on 4G, there'll be a 4G primary component carrier. Now, in this example, which would be typical of a Category 6 device, there is also a 4G secondary component carrier. So carrier aggregation allows multiple connections to be aggregated together in real time, effectively increasing the overall bandwidth that is available to the device. And the important thing about this is it increases speed and to an extent it increases reliability as well. So by making sure we have carrier aggregation in our project, we have higher speeds and higher reliability. Now, this isn't 100% guaranteed all the time at every location, but across an estate of 100 or 500 or 1,000 devices, you will definitely see a net benefit from having carrier aggregation available. On the right-hand side, you have an example with a 5G secondary component carrier. So most 5G across Europe at the moment is non-standalone, which means the primary carrier is always to a 4G network, often the anchor network or the anchor band, as it's called. So it will go and establish itself on 4G, but then will draw on a very often very fast 3.5 gigahertz connection or similar to get some real significant bandwidth increases. So overall, that is the picture for carrier aggregation. The device, so when we say the UE, user equipment, refers to a router or a phone or anything that is the equipment of the user of a mobile network. It has a class, and most standard low-cost industrial routers are Cat4, and Cat4 does not have the ability to do carrier aggregation. It has a single primary component carrier and no secondary component carriers. So you can see in the table, Cat6 is the next step up, and that's when you've got, like we had in the previous slide, the example, primary and a secondary carrier. And probably the most important thing to highlight here is that all Robustel 5G routers, not only do they support 5G, but they also support Category 16 4G or higher. So if you look in the bottom right there, that indicates that you can have 5 component carriers in total. So that's a lot of bandwidth potentially, and in ideal conditions, that will give you a gigabit per second, and that's on 4G. That's without any of the additional component carriers being on 5G. So let's quickly demonstrate in the context of a Robustel router what this actually means. So we'll log in here. And a recent addition to Robustel's standard operating system GUI is a more user-friendly view of the primary and secondary component carriers. And so this particular 5G router, we have an example here of there is the primary carrier. It's 4G band 1 with pretty good RF conditions. And in this particular example, the secondary carrier is band 28 5G. So we're not being given any additional 4G resources, but we are being given 5G. And in essence, that is what non-standalone 5G is. It's effectively carrier aggregation. Now, if this router didn't have optimal carrier aggregation, you were getting nothing other than a primary component carrier from the network, and you wanted to see if you can optimize the connection at all, then what you can use is Robustel's new extension to smart roaming, which is smart roaming for 5G devices. So here you can see the current connection is on the O2 network in the UK. It's on 5G, and we've detected all of these other networks. A full explanation of smart roaming is beyond this quick pitch video, but you have all of the other networks there available. And what you can do is you can go in, choose a network. I want to change to, for example, Vodafone. I would click submit. And then once that change has taken place, typically 1 or 2 minutes, I can go in here, maybe run a speed test to see, how quickly is it performing now. Now I've moved to a better network. Or well, could be better, could be worse. It depends on the RF conditions at that point in time. And once we've made that change, we can go back to the cellular view, and then we would be able to get an idea of the new carrier aggregation status. It might only be a single primary component carrier, or it could be a couple of secondaries, maybe 5G and another 4G band that's available to you. So that's how you would manipulate. I've used Robustel's nice remote access tool here to generate that URL, but you can also go in through Robustel's cloud platform. So this is the router that we've been looking at the moment, and as a more lightweight fashion, you can make a command line connection, and you can just interrogate it with the command status cellular. And there you can see a more text-based view of the primary and the secondary component carrier. And you can get other data out of the connection about ENDC is active, which refers to how 5G works in a dual carrier mode, and the fact that 5G new radio mode is non-standalone architecture, so it's NSA as we would expect. But that's it for this brief video, just to quickly show you how carrier aggregation, a really good updated view in the Robusto operating system, in conjunction with the new 5G smart roaming, can provide some tools to make your network go, on average, quicker and more reliably.